you can't really control something like poaching because because like the fact that the trade is still thriving indicates that there is a crack in the system.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Such a pleasure to have all of us virtually in a single room. This is Preksha. I work as a program manager for Asian Dispatch, and I'm here with my colleagues Pallavi and Anushka. I'll just request everyone to do a quick round of introductions. I'll just briefly also tell you what I do here at Asian Dispatch. I help manage operations. My primary domain of work is partnerships. I also help the editorial team every now and then because I have a background in journalism. So wherever you can put that, happy to do that. The idea is for me to help the network go strong and keep running its operations. We have a lot of projects that we do under Asian Dispatch. I help coordinate them, run them with various team members. So that's a little about me. With the EJN project that we're here for, I was primarily the coordinator for it. I helped with secondary research here and there. But we had two components to that project that I'll get into later. But if everyone could give a quick round of introduction first. Pallavi, can we start with you?
Sure. Thank you so much, Preksha. Hi, everyone. My name is Pallavi Pundir. I'm the editorial lead at Asian Dispatch, and I manage commissions, editing, and everything that is editorial related on the Asian Dispatch website. I was very excited to contribute to the EGN project because it was kind of an offshoot. The reporting bit of it was an offshoot of a story that I've been chasing for the since 2019. I first did that story for Vice News when I was a South Asia correspondent, and but the good thing is that with EJN, I had this amazing opportunity to expand. Again, we'll get deeper into it, but it kind of aligned with our Asian Dispatch's main goal of cross-border cooperation and cross-border collaboration. And like the stars just aligned, and here we are now. Thank you so much, Anushka.
Hi, everybody. My name is Anushka. I am the editorial strategist at Asian Dispatch. It's, as all of us, it's a little hard to say what we do in words because our lives are it is everything from admin, from scheduling emails to writing, doing the production for big projects. But I think I work with both Pallavi and Preksha in equal measures. I help to develop our the editorial plan for Asian Dispatch. And I also helped to work with members on different kinds of collaborations, whether that's on a partnership front or an editorial front. And I also do some reporting when I can.
Hi, I'm Siu Lin, and I'm the co founder and editor of Macaranga. We are based in Kuala Lumpur, and we are Malaysia's only independent media specializing in environmental issues. We do long form analytical pieces because there's a little bit of a gap there in this country. And we've been going for 6 years now, and very, very happy to be a member of Asian Dispatch.
Hi, my name is Fun Chen, and I'm an independent journalist. I used to work for a media newsroom in Malaysia Kini, where I report a lot of investigative work related to forest and reclamation works. But when this project started, I left my previous company, and then this grant was happening, and then Siulin was very kind to give me a job to have a grant to work on. Yeah, that's how I get into this wildlife crime project.
Chonchuan is keeping the call the most chill, I guess. We've all been like, oh my God, hi, here we are. You're keeping up with the brief. Absolutely love it. I'll briefly tell you both about Siul and Chunchuan about the project we did here at Asian Dispatch. I want you both to know more about what I think drove us to apply for it and what actually was selected as part of the final thing. Then we can dive deeper into it. Feel free to ask me questions, ask Anushka and Pallavi questions. So the topic was basically about illegal trading in Shehtush. Shehtush is a kind of wool which is known as the king of wools, and it's procured from a Tibetan antelope called chiru. It is a very, very sparsely, you could say, available species in itself. It's endangered, but the climatic conditions in it which it thrives is also very rare. It's found in the belt in what we call Ladakh, a very higher altitude region near Kashmir in India. You find it near Tibet and also in China, some other areas. So the project was a two-part thing, where one part was about investigating this cross-border illegal trade, where Pallavi's initial reporting came in very handy. We built on that incrementally and understood that what is the current status of this trade, what countries does it constitute, and where can we do the reporting. So Asian Dispatch did three trainings in a sense. One training was for the reporting team who began this work with us, that was spearheaded by Pallavi. And that one time training was done with an idea to align the whole team, to make them sensitive towards the topic we're working on. Apart from that, we designed two specific trainings in which Siulin was a major part, honestly. She was one of the two experts who designed this with us. Anushka worked with me on this. We all collaboratively came up with a curriculum that helped journalists who have already worked on the biodiversity theme and want to come up and try this newer beat. So this is in a nutshell what we did with the project, and I'll let both of you now introduce your bit, and then we can go into further questions.
No, absolutely. I mean, wildlife trade is one of the big drivers of biodiversity loss. I thought we should just give it a go and try and apply for this grant. So having this opportunity, we did the same thing as you guys. We also started off with a workshop, to incentivize, to sensitize people about both the topics as well as give them reporting skills on how to cover court, but also some of the legal matters. So we got an expert court reporter to come in, and then we got an expert from traffic Southeast Asia to come in and handle the sort of more technical parts when it comes to wildlife trade as well. And so we had 12 journalists on. So there's a workshop. And then the other second component is actually the producing of stories. And that's where Chun Chuan comes in. And the third component actually is having youth sort of come in and produce social media content that targets other youth. So, very, very happy that Chun Chuan came and attended the workshop, pitched, and actually got a fantastic story going. Didn't you, Chun Chuan?
Yes. So, yeah.
Easiest response ever. And he just gets the job done as well. It's not like I missed on something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I produced a story about songbird trade, and for this story, we have been reporting about. We also find, because after the workshop and the training, and then I went to court, and then I found that there are a lot of songbird cases that involve people who are convicted. They are from a certain state in Malaysia, which is Kelantan, and I started to. From the list, I saw this is from a certain kind of state, certain kind of people, and then I started to relate it between this songbird competition and the culture of these people.
I want to ask both of you something, and I'll try to frame it in a different manner because I see you both can answer it in different manners. Seeing biodiversity such a niche theme, it's something so specific. So, Siulin, I was wondering that what motivated you to work on this theme of biodiversity reporting? So, what motivates you to keep going on such a specific theme?
Well, I think it's we can't be all things to all people, as you have pointed out, right? And basically we identified a huge gap in terms of coverage in Malaysia. Sometimes we hear, oh no, media doesn't represent what people want, but media also has a role to be leaders in terms of thought, in terms of identifying issues that nobody else wants to talk about. And I think we felt that this was certainly the case. When I started off in journalism 30 years ago, there was no such thing as climate change. It was all about biodiversity. And then gradually it started, climate change started creeping in, and biodiversity got completely sidelined. So you've got biodiversity loss, you've got climate change, and you've got pollution. And these are just broad categories. And at the end of it is all this, intersections of themes and issues. It's very hard to say we only write about climate, we don't cover biodiversity, and vice versa. I'm sure you guys feel the same, right? Anushka and Pallavi?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't really have, like a very strong or long background in conservation or wildlife crimes reporting. But the thing is, like, the reason why I got interested in shehtush as this illicit product that is trafficked and how it impacts the Tibetan antelope population is it's an aspect of three things. The first is, like the geopolitics of conservation. Uh, like the location was very crucial because it was a Tibetan autonomous region controlled by China. I was deeply invested in the way the narratives around conservation came out of each of these regions based on the geopolitical dynamics. And what made it even more interesting was that there was absolutely no cross-border cooperation. Like every country with its own conservation problems, enforcement issues, and everything, they were operating on their own, and also that way they get to avoid accountability in a certain way. Of course, like the aspect of like local nuances, the community versus western ideas of conservation, I believe like that really piqued my interest. And third was doing a story that had a cross border aspect. So all the reporting was happening in very isolated manner. And I mean, like, because I'd done a very similar report focusing on just the India story back in 2019. For this report, when I saw the brief that EJN had, it kind of gave us an opportunity to say that, what, like, this is a reporting that's been happening within just one country. Like, every country has set its own like status of what they're doing about Shaitush. But as far as understanding the local context, the communities, why they used to weave, also the tradition of weaving Shaitush, it's a whole different chapter. And, like why it was a tradition and how does it intersect with a crime. It was just very fascinating. And yeah, that's how it blossomed into a 6,000 word story.
I just want to say, hats off to you. I mean, wildlife trade is already so complicated, and you're bringing the whole conflict zone into it. You're bringing transboundary trade into it. Wow.
I wanted to know from all of us, and Sulin, Chunchwan, that do you think there are enough reporting and training resources out there to work on these conservation related stories?
Yeah, I think that's one reason why I really believe in the concept of mentorships. That you follow up training, like you get everybody all geared up and excited about knowledge and information, and then you follow that through with giving them grants. So you have to give them an incentive, as well as the mentorship, and then to tell their editors in house, look, you don't have to worry about it. As the reporter is trying to work through a story, here's an editor who can come in, and you don't have to pay them, you don't have to do a thing. In fact, here's money for your reporter to go and do field reporting, and then come back, use the knowledge that you've gotten from one of Anusha's workshops, apply that in a storytelling, come up with a story, and you're getting everything's being paid for. And I think that model is just absolutely fantastic.
The reason I was asking you guys about this lack of resources or whether it's there was because I recalled, honestly, as Anushka was talking about it, I realized that there was so much that went into producing the story also. The way we were trying to put it together. And I think that's something that we in our newsroom are trying, but then I think it's across our members also. I've seen so much of multimedia reporting happening. But working on biodiversity themes, which are so sensitive, you rarely get those perfect shots. You don't get those pictures that you want to put there to, make it that appealing to the reader. I was wondering that if it was the case for your stories as well, because we had a hard time finding the right visuals.
So when I participated in the workshop, I brought along my photographer from Malaysia Guinea as well at the time. So he participated the whole training, and then she also went to the field trip with me. And I think one of the success of this story is that he was there and filmed so many things about the songbird industry, how they train, how they play the games. And then the story, I think Xiulin told me that the photos of the songbirds are getting more engagement than my story. I think, yeah, because the visual is really good and engaging, and yeah, so I think it's very important for this visual part to able to capture what is happening on the ground, and it's about wildlife. Yeah, so we get to see how they are impacted. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
also have
Pallavi,
a
go ahead.
question for Pallavi. Yeah. So my question was, I watched there's a very famous film in China. It's about Shatouche. The name is Kekesili, and how they someone want to how they in Tibet how Shatouche is being killed by a gang, and yeah, and
Yeah.
then from the story I learned that it's quite violent and how they kill people who want to expose it. It's a
Yeah.
journalist, I think. Yeah, and
It's
how is
a
it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's still violent.
So
Yeah,
I just read about the that film apparently because it was listed in the CITES website as one of the movies in order to educate yourself. But I mean, there have been documentaries about like the severity of poaching in China, and of course, China has taken a lot of steps. I mean, that way, I guess authoritarianism works. China has taken a pretty strict stance to ending poaching, but I guess like it's one of those things, like just like any criminal activity. I think like even under extremely controlled environments, you can't really control something like poaching because I mean, like, because, like the fact that the trade is still thriving indicates that there is a crack in the system. And we kind of rely on the data that China sends. And we just trust it. Like, we have no option but to trust the data that they send every year for their annual, like the meeting report that they have. And that's a problem with all of our countries, like like common people, forget about common people, but like relevant authorities and journalists just don't have access to information, and that is our biggest problem, and that translated in our visuals as well. And we are in fact relying heavily on creating visuals based on real life images, just so that the audiences can connect, because we unfortunately live in a digital age where visuals make a huge impact, and people believe a story when they see something, which is how it should be. But yeah, like chasing a story like this, like where the actual visual of the animal is missing, that was very challenging for us.
I have one comment and one question. Yeah. So I read a book. It's about a Taiwanese. He wrote about Tibet, and he was looking for snow leopard. I'm not sure whether you have snow leopard in your country.
Yeah,
So the
there
whole
is.
book is about how he's trying to find snow leopard, but he can't find any. So it's a whole journey of looking for snow leopard, but he can't. At the end, he found it in the zoo. I think it's in Tibet. So it's a very engaging story. There's no image, but it's a
I
travelogue,
love
but
it.
also yeah, it's a Taiwanese writer. And my question is that possible to do cross-border collaboration with journalists from China? Although we know it's quite difficult there. It's very
We
difficult.
are, yeah, I think we mentioned it in the beginning. For 3 months, we tried to find a journalist there. We connected with international journalism networks, founders, if they know anybody. They asked around, everybody said no. We tried very hard to pitch it as a soft story, it just did not land.
Yeah.
How
Chunpan,
many journalists? Sorry, how many journalists actually worked on this story?
There were four of us, four lead reporters. I mean, and each of these countries served a specific focus because our aim was to show a trade route. And of course, we know that the main markets are, like European countries. But over the last few years, there has been a shift in the supply chain and the demand chain, actually, where the trade, like the supply has shifted to the Middle East, which was really shocking to us. And it was very interesting, which is why we decided to shift our gaze from, like European countries, which has been covered so many times, to UAE, which is, like number one in terms of buying Shetush. And again, like there is this question, is it really Shetush? We will never know.
That's fascinating. I think on our part, we didn't do any sort of cross-border collaborations, but we also looked at the so-called supply chain, from poaching right up to sentencing. It was a little bit difficult for people, as Chun Chuan pointed out, because the trials get postponed or they're like really far away, and then journalists have other jobs. And also, I think somebody mentioned something about beats and sort of boundaries, right? So my beat, like if I'm a court reporter, nobody else should come in and report on any sort of thing to do with court, even though it's related. So, we actually had someone come in, and one of the participants say, no, I can't write a story about this because I'm not a court reporter. But it was great that she got an opportunity to learn how to go to court and do court reporting through this project.
If you guys are up for it, I want to put us on the spot again, of course, because that's my role. For you, Chunchuan, for you, Siulin, I mean, what is it that you guys felt was the greatest? Just give me like one-liners if you feel like.
For me, the best thing is the fixer. I had managed to hire a fixer because in Kelantan, they use different kind of dialect in Malay. So when they speak Malay, it's different from what I learned. I totally lost of it. So I hired one fixer and then to brought us, and then he is the translator as well. And when we go in, she is very street smart person, and then it helps me a lot. So it helped me a lot to get into the group, to get into the community, and then to really get their perspective. And I think it's quite different from how I worked before. This is like how to cooperate and to work as a team on the ground. And I think it's very important experience for me to move forward as a journalist, how to build a strong team to go to Tibet. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so.
Well, there you go. That's your volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chinchuan, can you go to Tibet for us?
We're ready to delay it a week. Okay, nice.
Oh my God.
The street smart thing you're saying, we didn't have a fixer, but we had like a lovely colleague from our office who helped us with this. So when Pallavi had to go report in Kashmir, I was like that we were just talking about, whether we can make it happen, another person can go. And we were like, no, this is not going to work out until, we've got another person with us. And our colleague Hashim, who went with Pallavi for this, I mean, he's from the region. He's very good at navigating it. And I had seen it firsthand on another trip with him. But Pallavi, when she came back, she was like, testament to it. She was like, no, this was a great idea. So I think collaboration sometimes really brings the better out of you, or if you see the bloopers that these guys have shot, maybe the worse. Okay, everyone. So now that we've spoken about each other very frankly, I want to know a little about the future here. We've done these projects. They'll hopefully be out in the coming few weeks, and really excited to read it all. But what's next? Do you guys intend to continue the work you're doing with the themes right now in the area? I think that's a yes for you, Siulin, definitely. The Macaranga over there reminds me of that. But I think, apart from the theme itself, any future ideas or ways you want to take this very project forward? Do you see it has paved newer ways for you to, let's say, report, train, do something that builds on this incrementally?
I think there's a lot more training that needs to be done in terms of court reporting, in terms of post arrest, a lot. So it's a good start, and we'll see. But I will actually be taking a break from wildlife trade for a few months, if not for a year. We'll see how it goes. There are unfortunately other subject matters that are quite pressing. So it's always a matter of what needs priority and stuff like that. But I'm very happy to have gained all this experience under my belt and worked with journalists like Chun Chuan, who have also taught me quite a lot. And yes, I look forward to continuing the mentorship at some stage.
That's amazing. Chun Chuan, do you want to go next? Anushka, anyone?
Sure, I can go ahead. I think one of the things that this taught us and what we look forward to is just we see so much great award-winning cross-border reporting in the West, and it's one of the reasons we started Asian Dispatch, is to kind of be able to do things like that within Asia. And I think this project, both the training and the story, taught us that, of course, there's obviously difficulties with cross-border reporting, with all this conflict zones, with like geopolitics, etc. But ultimately, it really does take just couple of people who really want to work on something together to sit down and accomplish it. We are living in an age where it's so easy to do that. We can just sit on this call, just like right now, brainstorm through ideas, take on some work, and everybody gets it accomplished. So just being able to use the experience here, to use that learning, and to be able to take it to other people and say, hey, we did this already, and now we want to do other projects with you. I think that is the thing that I'm looking most forward to, and that's what it's taught us.
Okay, I'm going to take the last 5 minutes with you guys. I know this has gone beyond time. What mental space were you in when you wrote this, or any funny incident that you can tell me about? I have to insert the fun here. It also comes with my job. Like, I have a wonderful incident to tell you about. We were sitting in our office in one of the conference rooms, and I think we both were like, today we get this done. And we had been contemplating on applying for this since forever. We were like, we'll do it. And then in the last days, we were like, no, we had to do it. And now that we were putting this together, Anushka and I like, we're not going to leave the office until this is done. It's the deadline and we have to do it. And I kid you not, we luckily got it done, because otherwise we were out somewhere fending for ourselves to find a space and work, because we were kicked out of the office. Our somebody who helps us with the office, I don't know, how do I say, he's like a jack of all trades, amazing guy, and he was done with us. He was like, you get out of the office now, I need to close up, or you're getting closed with this. So we just took our things, made the submission, and just got the hell out of there. So I'm sure you guys also had some fun doing this, so I want to know some bits about that.
Actually, I think when because we were sort of looking for the right grant, we already kind of had this idea. And actually, I spoke to Chun Chuen before I put the grant together, just to test it out on a journalist. Like, what sort of training do you think this is going to work? Do you think going to court is going to work? And he had gone to court previously for the rhino horn case that he had mentioned about, and so he was able to bring his own experience, being a first timer or second timer going to court, into sort of helping me devise the grant. So yeah, it was. I think we're just really fortunate to have gotten the grant. I mean, it was extremely competitive. I'm in absolutely good company, even though you say that you last minutely put it together. But Pallavi, again, wanting to do a story, wanting to follow this through, I think is marvelous, and I'm very grateful, as I'm sure you are, to EJN and all other sort of media funders who believe in what we are trying to do and are just there for us. This is totally not funny, but that's all I've got.
I was kind of waiting for the funny part, but
Sorry.
Dylan, how about the trainings there?
How about the
trainings with the young people? I think the funny only kicks in when I talk about them.
No, actually, the training was fine, and it's I think very enthusiastic. Actually, they actually are very earnest, very enthusiastic. But yes, time management is a challenge for a lot of people. So again, I just had to crack the whip, I think, a little bit, and just lots of reminders, and until I have to put my foot down. Yeah, Chun Chuen's laughing away. Really funny, isn't it, Chun Chuen? Yeah, but anyway.
Wow. No, I get it.
Yeah, for me, the funny part is that when I went to the court trial for the songbird cases, it's very cold, it's very long, and then these people who had songbird illegally are being called up to the court, and they are waiting there. They're so bored, and then they can't keep talking to people, but the judge is so draggy, and he's like so slow. He wants to write down everything by himself, and so that and everyone is so boring, and they take a day off to went there, and then they're like school students. They are being asked by the court police to sit down, go to toilet now, or later you can't go. And then they are like, so boring. How long this game take? Like, because I'm so bored as well, I start like looking at them and like, I feel like they are bad boys in school and being lectured by the headmaster and the prefect. I find it very, very strange in a court setting.
Fascinating to
Not
know
so
that
fun.
Malaysian and Indian schools sound the same. I was totally in school as you said that. I apologize, this ran over the time, but thank you so much, everybody, for coming together for this.
Thank you all very much for putting this together. I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you guys. I think your work is absolutely amazing. I so look forward to reading the article. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to win awards.
Wow.
As always,
Thank
lovely
you.
talking to you,
Thank you
Sulin.
so much. Sending all the best wishes your way. Kunjwan, thank you. Yeah.